And then let's go.
Are you going to record it too? How
Yeah,
fun.
let's go live.
Just let me know when you are,
We're streaming, so you can go ahead.
so you can go ahead. All right. The Stephanie and Maxine show
Yay!
coming to you live on Facebook. So Stephanie's going to go ahead and share in our multiple groups and pages. And we're going to talk about, well, geez, just where are you right now? I felt like we were on the home stretch there, and then Stephanie went and had to post that thing. And that, that little piece of data that talks about, where we're at and what our chances are as estheticians of actually contracting the COVID virus after we get back in the treatment room. So we've got some big decisions to make. I think we got to think about a lot of things.
We do.
Stephanie's like, hey, people are, getting mad about this. So let's talk about why you're angry. Let's talk about, I don't know, let's just talk about it all. And let me know when you're done sharing all over the place there.
Yep, I'm still sharing. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I'd love to know where Stephanie found that piece of data. She just kind of informed me real quick. And then she said, that's on her page with this graph. And it's already gotten like 33 shares. So I'm sure you've seen it. And if you haven't, go ahead and take a peek at it, because holy moly, this is going to change things for us.
I think the thing is it's the amount of people that we affect. I think that's where a lot of people are really scared. Like the true number now is here. So we have a lot of people who didn't realize the way that, I think we realized the way that we interact, but not how COVID played that part. And then the percentage of what we do can put us at risk. And I think that's the thing I've been concerned with. I've actually posted a couple different times specifically on talking about what we need to prepare for when we do go back. And I don't think we're quite ready for that either. A lot of people were upset with me, and I find it a little interesting that you were upset, but it's more of, are you prepared for the amount that you need to have to protect yourself? And that's a bigger picture outside of just having gloves or just having different things for protection, but your overprotection. Sanitation and disinfection are two different things. So are you ready for the sanitation level that you need to get to? And then are you also ready for the level of sanitation and disinfection you need to do in between clients? Like, it's going to be very different. I think we've been so used to moving our clients from month to month, and we usually have them back to back with maybe a 5 minute in between, to now it may have to be 15 minutes depending on whatever solution you're using and how long that has to sit on a surface for it to be active and actually kill viruses. So there's a whole level of understanding and then also kind of changing really quickly to affect that. Do I personally think we're ready to open up now and be able to have services? I don't think we're ready. Even from a sourcing point of view, and I've talked about this many times in my groups, I'm not able to source things that normally I could get next day. Like, there's a delay. And even in the delaying, there's now limiting. So before, I could probably buy, 100 boxes of gloves per size, and now they're limiting people down to 20. So it's really kind of a downhill roll. Like, everything is being effective, and I know that people want to go back and be very busy, but I don't think we've thought about the process, which is why I've been talking about SOPs, which is why I love Maxine so much. When we were on live last week, I did my esthetician chat with Angela, and she was also talking about it, and I mentioned you have an amazing SOP program. People don't understand the SOP part of doing business because it's not something that we've really thought about. And I think even more now, it's even more important to have your SOPs, your sanitation, your, disinfection, your logs, everything that you do, so that if in the event, Lord, we don't want it to ever happen, but someone ever accuses you of doing something and getting them infected, you now have a track record of what you do and a chart of what you do on a daily basis. And I think that's the part that we're not really focusing on. We're so focused on getting back to work. And I think the look of how we work is going to be different. The way we work is going to be different, but it's going to have to be planned and not just back into robot mode. Because I don't think at this point, we're never going to be the way we were. And that's the part of the grieving process, that we're still grieving that loss of what we had versus what we have now. Wouldn't you agree, Maxine?
I totally think so. There's no going back. There's only going forward. There's like a new way of life, and it's still unfolding. Where, our home life is different. The way we go to the store is different.
It is.
Like and people might be who are on right now, like, well, what is an SOP? And, Stephanie has been pinging me since October, since the last Beauty Business Summit. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to put together standard operating procedures. They're for every facet of service, from front desk to, employee protocol, there's just so many different protocols. So it's basically protocols that you have in place that you're going to have to shift. And I'll give an example of when I went to the vet with my dog.
Yeah.
There's protocols at the hospital right now of, people are having babies and husbands can't go into the delivering room. That's a procedure now. That's like a real thing. And so when I went to the vet, I had to go to a specialist for the first time. And, they're like, this is what you do. When you arrive, you call us and you tell us what stall number you're in. And I'm like, okay. So they went out and numbered all the stalls, the parking stalls. So you pull in and you call them, you check in, you let them know you're there. They come out and get your dog. You don't even leave your own leash and collar on. They put their own on. And then the doctor calls you once your pet, and then you have a conversation of what's going on, and then you pay over the phone, and then they bring your dog back out to the car. It's just like they got it down. They had to think really quickly. And so we have to kind of do the same of, it's not going to be to that caliber. Obviously, we're seeing clients, but we have to think of ways right now and things that are going to make our clients feel comfortable. Someone said to me, well, what about state boards? Well, it's going to take them a minute to get some things together.
Absolutely.
So we need to be proactive to say to our clients, look, this is what I have in place, and these are my protocols, these are my procedures. Whether it's, as soon as they walk in the door now, you have a hand sanitizing thing right there.
Right.
Versus, a sink with, a hand washing thing. And that's just the first step. So, because if we're looking at this map that you placed on your page today, Stephanie, they're looking at it too. And they're going to be apprehensive to book appointments. Maybe, I don't know. We got to figure that out, and we have to do whatever we can to make our people feel safe so that they want to book with us.
And I think that's the bigger picture. I think for me, even the other post that I posted about the disposables, there's a lot of people that are complaining when we looked at what is necessary to protect you. There was a lot of complaints that I got on my page, on the post itself, that we're wasting things. And I had a really great conversation with my girlfriend, who's also an esthetician. She's also a nurse. She has now gotten back into the hospital. She's not in a major hospital, but she's in a behavioral hospital. And she's like, I've been doing training just with OSHA for 2 weeks. And then I have to do a hospital training for another week. And then I have to do, depending on the department, another training. And she said, our beds layers are like 5 layers of protection. And that's if you don't have anything leaking. So if you have bodily fluid or anything coming out of places, then it's a different type of protocol. So, I'm always very curious as to why people think this is an option. Why now you really do think it's an option. And we can't compare COVID to anything else right now. We really have to focus on COVID. There are other viruses and other illnesses out there, but at the same time, we should have been doing this before COVID. And that's really kind of where I'm coming from. Like, now you really don't have a choice. There can't be no more comments or arguments about gloves. We got to put that to rest. We got to stop arguing about this. Your face mask now has to become a part of your standard operating procedures. Like, every procedure, you need to have your own face masks. We need to take our own health a little bit more seriously in this, because I cannot even talk about the number of estheticians who have said a client has lied coming there and they've had a cold or a sniffle and it turns out to be worse. And that esthetician now is out of work. That's just with a basic cold. So, at what point are we going to put our health first?
We have to. I mean, the best way to protect ourselves is to make sure our own immune system is up, whatever that is, whatever your method is, whatever. But I think it's also our mind too. We were talking about that earlier, Stephanie. But I don't know, like there is a lot going on right now, and we just have to think differently. We have to think out of the box. I saw your post and I saw people just rip through there at you, and I was like, oh my God. But I get both sides. I do. Because I too don't want to be wasteful. And so then, okay, so look into a hospital grade service where they're going to come pick up your laundry.
Yes.
And you don't have to do it. And someone was like, well, what about our clothes? Well, I'm sorry, but your clients aren't laying on top of you. Well, at least I don't know what you're doing over there, but let's hope not. And, so it's not to that extreme. It's like, let's be as cautious as we can.
Yeah.
But not paranoid.
And the paranoia, and I'm a little higher than you. I don't think I wouldn't even call it paranoia. I have to protect me. So I'm always going to put myself in protection first. And in doing that, it's not to offense to someone else. Does that make sense? And I think part of it is because my mom has been in the dental industry, for years. She retired from it. She always had the same protocols. I mean, even for her own children, she still gloved up and masked up and did all of this. And so when I started doing aesthetics, I still glove up and do this even for my family members. So it's not anything that's out of the normal. Adding another layer is okay with me. Yes. But I think the realization that this will become the normal is what people are upset with, among everything else. I think I don't know if maybe it was just very eye-opening to see the level of who's essential and who's not essential, because that's another conversation that's going around, and people are very upset in general. I think right now our stress levels are high. We're stressed out because of the money situation. There's a lot of unknowns. We don't know who's telling the truth and who's not telling the truth. And I find that it's easy to vent on these groups because, it's easier. It's easier to be a keyboard bandit than it is to sit in truth. And that's why I think, titling this today, Facts Over Feelings, a lot of us have strong feelings right now. We're very stressed out right now. We're very emotional right now. But I also think that there's a lot of facts out there that we don't want to accept. And part of that fact is saying that your business is going to be different. You don't have a choice. There's no choice anymore. So to say what you're not going to do means maybe you're just not ready to go back then.
I have there's this reality too. I mean, do you remember after 9/11, how everybody behaved after 9/11?
Oh, scared.
I was a flight attendant then. Oh. And so, it didn't seem like it was like it took that long for people to forget.
Yep.
So I wonder if the same thing is going to happen with this.
Yeah.
Where I do think that going forward, we all need to be wearing gloves and a mask. Mm-hmm. It's still a barrier regardless. Goggles are a barrier. Mm-hmm. I mean, the booties, I was laughing about, because I know we're not going to get into it. I got you, girl. But here's the thing, how can we be cautious and still, I'm still about how can we deliver the Disney experience? and at my spa, I would have them get out of their street clothes,
Yeah.
get into spa wear, get into spa slippers, which are sold at Universal Companies, by the way. Hi, Darnell.
Hi, Darnell.
I know. And so now they get into robe and slippers, and they get into the treatment room. So you're not tracking dirt into your spa. And I don't know, it's just another layer, but it's still delivering an experience.
Well, I think the experience also has to come with some level of truth as well. Yeah. And I'm gonna be very honest, because I think, you and I have had this conversation about pricing our services and pricing the quality of our services and what we're delivering versus throwing it out there. Service and value versus numbers of people, right? We have some spas that are out here pricing because they want to have volume on people. So they want to see that 40 and 50 people a day. So it's easier for them to then do a low price service versus a high quality service where you're giving that service, but you're seeing less. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in my experience, the higher services, the higher quality services, I'm going to, give 150%. I'm going to give them that experience. But even with the analogy of Disneyland is closed.
I said Disney experience.
But I'm saying but that's what I'm saying. Like Disney is even now trying to rehash the understanding of what is the new experience going to be. But why can't we as an industry do the same thing without getting the anger and the backlash? What I'm trying to do is get people to understand the bigger picture here. I'm not saying that we don't need to go back to work. I'm not saying that we would love to go back to the way that things were. What I'm saying is we can do it, but we have to do it strategically. We have to do it safe, and we have to do it different. And I think our level of what we think is luxury and experience is very different. There's very different degrees of it. I've had someone that has sent me a message privately because she didn't want to respond back, but she's in the, Laynes, where Laynes has events, and she's a Laynes esthetician in Philadelphia. And she was like, I don't want to talk about it, but let me just say, I've been doing spa parties where all of them have been disposables. So if the department stores are already ahead of us before COVID, and they're still making $4,000 and $5,000, $6,000 per spa party, which is in a day, then why are we arguing when we know we could do the same thing? Because here's the thing, all the ones that we fight against, all the major corporations, the big spas, all the ones that we fight against, I bet you right now are already doing their SOPs for the disposable world. They're going to act like every client is carrying something. They may not have physical signs, but they're carrying it. So we're going to protect ourselves, because at the end of the day, for them, it's the bottom line. But why can't we do that? Yeah. I feel like we're always a step behind when you already have these companies that we're already fighting against already there. So then when I bring up a conversation and then you have people chime in, it's like, this is why we're so far behind the power curve, is because it's already being done. There's already big businesses that are already doing it. Why do we resist? What is that resistance?
I think we resist change. I mean, we're forced to change right now because of this adversity. So we're forced to do things different, which, before I forget, for those that are on, Stephanie and I are doing a free webinar on Monday.
Yes, we are.
3 p.m. Eastern, on what to be doing in your business right now to make money. And I feel like that element is very important as well, because we need to be nurturing our digital business. We need to be building up our digital business. And I was a guest at a school yesterday, a skin school out in California at Paris Beauty College.
Oh,
somebody was like, well, what's a digital business? And I said, really good question, because I don't have to, you in your digital business, you're not touching people. And it's a little bit different than e-commerce. There's a few more layers to it in marketing. So it's about, putting together a landing page. Like, it's just like your website is user friendly. There's the digital world it's basically monetizing. So if you can imagine yourself earning money, like you wake up one morning and you're like, oh, I made $500 while I was sleeping. Like that's a reality. And this is where we're at also.
I do. I agree.
Having conversations of teaching people how to deliver certain facials at home. What if they're going to do it anyway? Like, I don't know about you, Stephanie, but I remember when I worked for a doctor at one point, I was just sharing the story yesterday. We had a woman come in with severe burns on her face. You know what she put on her face?
Aquaphor.
No. She put on her face wart remover. Yeah, because people get these ideas in their head, right? And so when she was in my treatment room and I said, what made you pick wart remover to put on your face? And do you know what her answer was to me?
She saw
Because it
something.
was the highest percentage of salicylic acid that I could find over the counter.
Yep.
So people will find ways. They're desperate. They want to. So what, like, let's teach them.
And I think that's the thing is we are so trained to provide, but we're not trained to market.
We aren't. And I don't think that they need to be doing certain percentages at home.
Well, some of them are, because you can
I
really get
know,
high
because some
now
brands
anywhere.
are selling to consumer direct. But like, at least let's help them.
Well, and I think that the thing for, it's a bigger picture than, and I love the digital space. I've been in the digital space for a long time.
Me too.
There's just a lot of resistance. Why? I don't even say go out and do it tomorrow. I'm trying to get people to open your mind, to be open and look at what it is.
No, we need to be. Like, if you're not, and this is the truth, and you can get mad at me, but you will be left behind.
You will.
We're there. And, people in my group, I'm like, look, you guys, there's so many different trainings right now. I'm like, I've been teaching you the digital world for 2 years, 3 years. And so, but now I'm like, I need you to marathon through the training this weekend so we can no, now is the time to just do it. Like, let's face our fears. You can do it. It's really not hard. If I could do it, I'm a baby boomer. I could figure this shit out. You can too. I promise you can.
Well, that's the
And
thing. I think that the amount of digital that we've had to turn to has been forced on us. And so we're really amazed at the ease to get into virtual. The thing I think a lot of them are afraid of is, how do we balance the virtual with the live? Like, how do I balance my virtual space with my live caring therapeutic space? We don't talk about those merges together because we've always kept them we kept them separate. There's a lot of businesses that are doing phenomenal right now. And you and I have talked about this. Even during this crisis, they're still doing extremely well because they've merged virtual with therapeutic. And it may not be the traditional. There's spa parties that are popping up digital now. I know Angela Green is on. She had her birthday party digital, and everyone came in, and we had a great time talking and laughing and sharing. And we're it's hard for me because I get passionate, because I hate seeing people just have so much at their fingertips but just sit there. And I'm like,
I can give you guys some examples of, and I'm just so, we both have groups, we both have people in our groups, but
you do.
we have people, I have people that have already have built, they're already preparing for, because I've been trying to tell people something's coming. We need to prepare. And so I have a couple of girls in my group they have online acne clinics, where they're helping people with their acne digitally, setting up a Zoom and selling product and charging for that, just as you would if you were to see them. I think we have it in our head that we need to touch and feel and I don't know, look through the mag lamp, and that's not true.
And it's not true. And I think now it's even more apparent to the ones who have really enveloped and embraced the digital age to survive. Because right now, it's survival of the fittest. literally.
It really is. So get it on. You can do it. We'll help you.
Hmm.
And that's it.
And that's it.
So
I think there's a lot to be said. We have a lot of people chiming in on there. Um, Kelly said the resistance for me is that I did not sign up to be in the medical field. Gloves are one thing, not being able to breathe all day from wearing a mask is another. Hypervigilance is not
yeah.
comfortable for me. Um, I would honestly say at this point, there's really no choice.
Well, she also said that she's considering closing her shop for the time
Oh,
being, going 100% virtual. Kelly, like,
there you go.
here's what I think. I think that you need to do for you, like whatever your core values are, whatever your beliefs are, whatever your stance is right now, you need to follow that and do for you, because there's no, I don't know, like there's no right or wrong right now.
Right.
I don't know. Like I don't really have like a judgment. Like people just, is that Celine? Does she want
Of
to come and say
course.
hi
No,
again?
her phone's ringing on her speaker because she has a party here every day. Every day there's a party. She has
I
speakers
know.
going and music and all of that. So I'm yelling at her now, tell her she knew she came around because my eyes look right over there. Turn it off.
Um,
Anyway,
I,
so I think, there's going to be a lot of changes and it's going to happen really fast. Um, and the change has come. Where are you in the change? I coached my group on specifically on PPP, the SBA. We've seen a lot of things that happened really, really fast with that. And even before all this happened, when March 1st hit, I had already started talking to them about taxes and have you filed your taxes? Have you filed your taxes? And a lot of people, no, I'm kind of waiting. I used to be that person that would wait till like the week of April 15th to get my taxes done. And so my bookkeeper kept saying, you really want to make sure they're done in January. She's like, I deal with multi-billion-dollar companies that get loans, and you'd be surprised at how efficient once January 1st hits and that book is closed from the 31st, that they're on it as far as their team and getting everything together. So they're ready to see if they owe or if they don't owe. And then that's how they conduct their business for the year. And I kind of looked at her like, January? Because I always filed in April. And so she's like, I think you should push. So I'm going to push you. And this was last year. I'm going to push you to file in January. And I said, but do I have to? And she
yeah.
said, I want you to get, and she's very good. She's actually a bank auditor. So she's even more very anal about stuff. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I got to cut off. I got to tap out because my head's hurting talking to you. But she really pushed me this last year and said, I really want you to get to the point where you are a multi-million-dollar company and you start acting like it. And these are the things that you need to do. She's all, you need to go to a corp. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I was like, I filed in January this year. I had all of my stuff together. I owe the government, which, whatever. And I'm glad she made me do it in January because
Yeah.
that was the process for SBA. And I think a lot of people are frustrated because they don't know the process of SBA. Would you say so? I think there's a lot of misconceptions, especially about the two reliefs that came out. There's a lot of misconceptions behind it. And there
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of instruction. I'm grateful because I had someone who's already in banking who works for me. She's our bookkeeper, but literally send me texts every day as it was leading up. She told me it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Go now. And I ran and I did everything that she told me to do. I don't think that people know that, SBA is not about the SBA. It's literally about who you bank with. And I think that's where the bridge and the disconnect with small businesses came in, because the big corporations who already have everything in place have a liaison with their bank. And they already knew they didn't have to do anything. They literally snapped their fingers and gave a yes, and everything was done. My bookkeeper kind of pushed me because that's what she deals with. And she said, do it now. Don't hesitate. Do it now. Don't think about it. Trust me. Do you trust me? And we had that conversation. And I said, I trust you. She said, do it now. And I think that the thing that I have seen is even in my own mentoring group, the process of doing taxes, filing payroll, who's on payroll, Are you on payroll? Do you use a payroll company? What is your reporting? Has now become so apparent in our industry that I think you and I also need to really go back to that place and say, you know, payroll in this situation with the COVID crisis is what saved my business. I can say that personally. That's what saved our business, is because they prepared all those paperwork that I did not know. I don't know what Form 944 is. I don't file any of
941.
that, right? I don't even know where to file it. I don't do any of that.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think that the thing we're going to see, even with the next rollout of relief money, you're still going to have that paperwork in order. You're going to have to
yeah.
have it done.
Mm-hmm.
So don't cry, get mad, but now that should be fire under your ass to say, you know what? Let me get my stuff together.
Yeah.
Let me find a small bank. Let me get a bank liaison. Because if you have a business account, you actually have a bank liaison. Many of you don't know that, but you can call up the bank and say, I'm a business member. Who do I have that I can connect to and email on a regular basis? Like, all of that has to be done like now. Because the next rollout, if you lag, the big businesses are going to get it again.
Yeah.
Because they have it in order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I mean, and even the relief funds, some people are like, I'm not getting it. I think they were supposed to arrive by today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you filed digitally,
Yep.
if you file where your taxes are either coming in or out of your bank account.
Correct.
But if you didn't file last year, it's not coming.
Right.
And if you make a combined income over X amount, you don't qualify.
Correct.
I think we're in it. It was like either 169,000 or 190,000. I don't know exactly, but somewhere in there, if you have a combined income of that, you don't qualify.
Right.
So, but you definitely, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about.
That is another topic. And I think the thing with me, which I'm probably going to do even in my mentoring group, is even break down exactly the process of how I got from A to B. And then once I got approved, what that process looks like, because I think people stopped at just going to SBA. And it was more than that. Like, I had to get a bank liaison. And then once the bank liaison told me, then I had to sign up through the bank in order to get the PPP. Then I had to put in more paperwork to them. Then they corresponded back to verify. Then they asked for the specific forms that were filed under payroll for 2019. Thank God I had my taxes done. And then they asked for certain proof, because it has to match what you file with. So you can't just make up numbers. Those numbers actually have to be documented. So it's a bigger picture than just putting your name in there and putting your bank account. It wasn't going to show up magically. You literally would have to then go to an SBA approved bank and then actually do that process with the bank, and then give them the application number that you did through the SBA. Like, that's how I was able to get through it. But I even said the next round of rollouts, they're probably going to do it the same way. So they need to have some verification. So get it in order. Get your taxes done. Yeah. Find a bookkeeper.
Yeah. No, CPA.
CPA. Sorry, she's CPA too. Sorry. CPA.
Yeah, CPA.
Get it together. You got to have your numbers. They got to match. You can't make stuff up. Yeah. And I feel bad, because I think that this part of our business isn't taught as well. It's really not talked about. It's not said. When I came out with my book and talked about paying myself and how I didn't pay myself for 10 years and I went into debt personally and I had credit card debt and all of this stuff, it wasn't until I put myself on payroll that I got relief, because when I did my taxes, I got money back because I claimed myself as an employee.
That's right.
And a lot of us are okay with a draw. A draw for some of us is how we survive. But when you become profitable on paper, you need to make yourself on payroll. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what saved me. Like, it was really me sitting down and saying, okay, how can I play this game? Like, how is the game really played? Like, not what I think is being played, but how is the game really played? Because to be honest, all of this is a game. Big business it's no different than Monopoly. But what we don't do is we don't do the work and the get the right people to talk to tell us and explain to us. If you don't know what you are or what your business is or how you file, ask somebody. Pay to get a great CPA and ask them. Like, don't still be in the dark. You can't have your head in the sand after this. Can't do it.
Ma'am. And even after Summit last year, where Melinda taught the Profit First formula.
Yes.
It's been a game changer, and almost all my people in my coaching and mentoring group are using that formula and really setting themselves up to, have 3 to 6 months savings, and you're
Correct.
set, so that if anything were to happen, whether or not you want to take a vacation for 8 weeks or what, it doesn't have to be a tragedy, that you're just set, you're
And
set.
that, I love that. I mean, and I told Melinda, she really opened my eyes because I thought I was great with my 2 different business accounts. When she was talking about 7, did she say 7 or 8?
5.
5
Yep.
at 3 different banks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got 2 at 2 different banks, but I don't have 5. But just the way she explained it wasn't overwhelming. And I think that's the thing, that you and I have a really great way with explaining things, that it's not overwhelming. But the way she even said it, and I even had you in my mentoring group talking to my folks about it again, and I'll have you back again. I think every esthetician needs to take that. Hint, hint. So that may be another course that I throw your way with that esthetician version of Profit First, because I think it needs to be broken down for our industry. Because I think a lot of us look at programs like that and they say, oh, but that's for a different business. That's not for
No.
our business. And looking at it from that point of view, I'm thankful I went and opened up another account, in the process of opening up another account, but that small bank was the one that we got our loan through. So, a lot of things happen, and they should happen in certain ways, but I think we also have to be prepared for that. Our income this year is definitely going to be lower than what it was, but are you really prepared for business? And that includes how you bank, how you pay yourself first. Do you have, do you have a system of how you're making money and where the money is going? Not just money in, but money out. Do you have that systematically?
Mm-hmm.
And while we have this downtime, you should be putting pen to paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go through those bills. It hurts. I mean,
yeah, this is the time, the other thing that people are doing right now is they want to go back in the treatment room and work smarter and not harder. And what does that look like? A lot of people are revamping their menu right now. They're getting rid of the small stuff, so that when you do go back in the treatment room, you're actually, whether you're doing high-end services or where you're making more and you're not seeing as many people. And I think that is also a reality. There's a lot of people. Yeah. So there's that. And, so I think that, and the Profit First, I'll just give a plug for Michael Michalowicz.
Yeah, it's a great program.
First formula. I definitely go to his website. We just did a little spinoff from, basically he's just like, use my spreadsheets, but just give me credit kind of thing, which is what we did at the summit.
Yeah.
But it's a great book. It's very eye-opening, because if we, just in a nutshell, the old formula that's taught in every business school is sales minus expenses equals profit, meaning that we're putting ourselves last and we're just taking the leftovers, the scraps, and what kind of message, where does that put our mindset? So he just has the formula flipped, where it's sales minus profit equals expenses. And I said that right.
Yeah, you did. I was like,
minus profit equals expenses. And basically what that is, it makes you take a really hard look at where the money's going out. And by paying yourself first, you're making yourself important. You're putting you and your family first. And I've gotten to the point where in my group, where I'm like, you can find a Profit First CPA.
Yeah.
So they at least can wrap their brain cells around the concept and have an understanding of your 5 different bank accounts. But go visit his website. He's really funny. He's a Virginia Tech graduate too, so we love him. But anyway, so that go directly to him. He explains it really good. The book is fantastic, and if you have the downtime right now to read it, go for it.
Yeah. And I love, Maxine and Melinda both really broke it down. And they're really good about it because they've been doing it. How long have you been doing the Profit First? How many years now?
You know what? Now, I've been doing it for years, but I didn't read the book until just like a year and a half ago,
Oh,
honestly. So, but I intuitively had separate accounts in my business. I know. So I had 4 instead of 5. But
good Lord.
and the reason why he's like big on the 3 banks is because we are terrible about stealing from ourselves.
Oh, honey, I would rob Peter, pay Paul easy. Easy. Have a
So
button. Look.
that's it. So that's savings and your tax account. So you're just peace of mind, out of sight,
Yep.
and I still have a savings account where it takes a couple of days. So I can't do anything where it's instant. That savings is like, I got to really think about that. Like, oh, it's going to take a couple days. So there's no knee jerking, like, oh, I want, so it's basically a formula that's built around our monkey brain and how our brain works with money. It's not about spreadsheets, which is
Which
confusing
I'm not
to a
about.
lot of
And
people.
in my mentoring group, I'm about no debit cards. So no access. None.
Yeah.
Get rid of them, cut them up.
Kristen, the book is Profit First by
Yes.
Mike Michalowicz.
Yes.
So
And maybe after this, when we're done, you can type it in Maxine. So that way I know you have, so people don't get confused. Cause I know his last name is a little bit kind of wonky.
I can't spell it, but I think I'm friends with his sister. So no, it's a great book. It's a game changer. I think that like for those of us that have everyone on probably has a business. I think we are thirsting for a new way to do things.
We are.
And, now's the time to take a look at something new, just fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And
I did. I mean, October, I really remember I told you, I'm like, I'm going to get me a new bank account. And so my husband's like, what are you doing? I said, look, she said to do this and I haven't gotten to my 5. But I said, we got to do this. And then we have to have this money going just for overhead. And then this account is just, so I've really done that. But, I think for me personally, the biggest one is gotten rid of my debit card. That's been the one that I've done the longest. I have no debit card for either business or personal. We don't swipe anything. So if you need money, you actually physically have to go to the bank, which makes your mind say, do you really need that 200 you're taking out or do you only need 50?
Yeah.
And it really, people are like, you have to go to I go to the bank. And I went old school like my dad. My dad's a check writer. He's like on his 30,000 check, like he's check writer. And I used to laugh at him all the time about that. And now that I'm older, I write checks and I still am writing checks because I physically am giving up my money. So I know when I write that check that I have an emotion behind it. Swiping, there's no emotion. Or, the doop, there's no emotion. It's just doop. And we're just all over the place with it. So I really had to, in order for me to get what I needed, I had to understand what I was spending. And I think that's the thing now, even in this time with COVID and the stay-at-home order, we're not spending as much. So I told my husband, I said, the fact that we're not spending as much when everything goes bad, we don't need to spend this much. Like, we don't need to eat out 4 nights a week or 5 nights a week. We can eat out 1.
People are still spending. What are you talking about?
I know, but I'm not. I mean, I have food allergy, so I'm limited to what I can eat out anyway. But it's very eye-opening. But I hope that a lot of you guys take away from this, action plans. I can't, and Maxine and I can't really emphasize enough. You have to do something during this time. You got to have action plans. It can't just be what you want. You got to have action behind it. Your clients, if they're reaching out to you, that's a good sign. That means that they are coming to you. What are you doing with them? You can't put them in the phone and keep them in the text. I talked about this at Summit. Some of us have that mean girl mentality. We love them when we see them, but then when they want something from us, well, I can only talk to you when my kids are asleep, or I'm only going to talk to you during business hours. You can't, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. Pay attention to what they're asking you right now too. I think that's really key. But more so than anything, make sure, do you have the link handy for our Zoom on Monday?
I can get it. Let me do it now.
Okay, and drop it in.
Yep.
And thank you, Angela. She even spelled it right. Angela, aloha. And, it's like, if anything, just like getting you to think outside of the box, getting you to get your digital savvy on. It's time to add the virtual business as another stream of revenue coming into your practice that's separate from you seeing clients. And if you choose to go completely digital, I know a few people in my mentoring group also can do it, can literally operate on virtual alone right now with their clients.
Yes.
And
We
what
have a
that
few.
does, it's really interesting when you go virtual, is you're no longer just pinned into your community. Now you have the world at your fingertips.
Yep.
A couple of my girls, they speak multiple languages. So they have a couple of the different presences I was like, set a separate presence in this country and this country, that's how I'm kind of guiding her. And, but now you've just opened up to where you can have a virtual clientele that's not just in your hometown.
Right.
And that's huge. And that's huge. I think this change, this whole thing that has happened is going to make us better retailers, if we sucked at retail sales before, it's saying to us, like, we need to like step it up. We need to go, I can't be fearful of this anymore. I need to, and I'm not saying being icky about sales, because like that's a whole nother segment on sales that we could do, but there's things that your people want right now. There's things that your people need. What are they, and how can you serve them at the level that they're at right now?
Right.
There's things that you can do. So I'm excited for our webinar on Monday, because we're going to teach you 2 things that you can do right now.
Right now.
That's what's so cool. If you choose to take it and run.
And we've had people that have taken it and run outside
Absolutely.
COVID. And now they're surviving because they took it and run now. Like, and that's the thing, I think balancing your virtual space with your regular space is where you're going to survive. Because here's the thing, clients' money has ebbs and flows now. It's a bigger picture than just running back to that treatment room. A lot of our clients talk a lot, but if they don't have any money to come and do the services, that's going to change as well. And I talked about this on one of my esthetician chats about 2 weeks ago when I said, some of us may have a 50% fall off. What are you going to do to make up that 50% of people who fall off? Where is that income going to come from? And have you mapped that out?
Right.
Someone got really upset with me when I said, retail now, especially for those of us who are at home and we're not in our treatment room, is going to have to get to 60% now. The 40% with your actual services is going to take care of your overhead. So, what are you doing? So I am not prepared to do that. I did not sign up to be a retail salesperson. I didn't. Do you want to survive?
Yeah.
You have the clientele. They come to you already. You are the expert to them. They're already using products. Why not talk to them about it? I don't understand. Again, it goes back to that resistance. And I find that the resistance for me, especially when I'm kind of about doing something, like even Maxine will pull it out of me sometimes. Her whole big thing is like, get all dressed up, put mascara on and all this. And I'll be like, But once I do it, I'm okay. And I think that at this point, if you know that unemployment has not cooperated with you, if you didn't get that PPP loan, if you haven't gotten the EIL loan, now it's up to you.
Yeah. Here's another thing that a digital and a virtual business can do. How many of you have seasonal practices? Because now you can close the gap on that. So I know that in Florida, the snowbirds, I know that same thing in different states have just different seasons where you are thriving, and then you might have a month or two where there isn't that revenue coming in. So by nurturing that virtual business, that will close the gap on that. Think about that.
I agree.
Like, that's a reality. That's a true reality. And then you can also be nurturing your e-commerce. You know, I taught
E-commerce is
how
still
to
going.
develop, how to put together an Amazon store in my group last year.
Yes.
There is one person in my group, her partner sells hair product, just two SKUs. That's it. And that store is bringing in, I think she said about $75,000 a year. Now imagine that.
And that is passive income.
This is like, you wake up and you're like, oh, look what's in my bank account, you know? So these are things that we can do. Like, they're not just available for special people. This is
No,
available for
and I
you.
think you're right. I love the way you say that, because we're so service oriented. And when the service is gone, that doesn't mean you're still not an esthetician.
Yeah. If anything, if you have a store, because you are a licensed esthetician, because you are a licensed professional, you are an expert and you have credibility. So start positioning yourself even more as the expert,
Absolutely.
writing more, doing more videos, being present. I mean, I have my girls, and I know Stephanie's like, she's like, you need to package up all your stuff individually, because I
Yes.
taught how to monetize a Facebook group. My girls are doing it right now.
I know.
I know. So join us on Monday. I think we've been going on here for a little bit.
Yeah, we're at 45 minutes.
Yeah. So did you already put in the link?
I did. I put in the link on both your post and mine.
Okay, awesome. So make sure you sign up for our webinar on Monday. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern. What you should be doing, or two things to grow your business right now, like what you should be doing right now to like make money.
Yeah.
It's not gimmicky. People are doing it.
Yeah.
And we're just excited to share that with you and just help you through this home stretch.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks talking about your training that you have. Maxine has a lot of training. I have been pushing her since how long has it been now? A few months. And I said, she has an amazing SOP program that's in her inner circle. She
Not
has
yet,
an amazing the monetizing your Facebook group. And I'm in some of those groups and they are doing really well, to be honest. She's monetized, and that is a training as well. Maxine has a wealth of knowledge. If you're not familiar with her inner circle and what she provides, I keep telling her, pull it out, pull that Facebook group out now, because people are looking to monetize the Facebook group. There's a lot of things that are accessible to you. My thing is always, where's the action? Don't just take these classes that are online. Put some action behind it, because that's what's going to yield you what you need. No different than when you decided to go to school and you went and showed up and did all your stuff and you got a job. That's actionable things. Don't just sit here with all this training, because I see some of the estheticians, and I have some of them when I check in. Oh, I took a training. Okay, so what are you doing with the knowledge now? No.
Absolutely. Whether it's learning a new, hands-on training, I think we can all be a little guilty of that, where we want to be the professional student.
Some of
No,
us are stuck there. Yes.
we don't want to be that. We always want to have that student mentality. We always want to be the student, but we want to also take what we learn and put it into motion, because that's when it's really going to change your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maxine, they're asking for your information because, they want to do the monetization and join your inner circle. So put that information in, please, as well. And then, a lot of you guys, I think a lot of stuff that I would love to see is actionable things. I'm still going to be posting the controversial stuff, and people think it's controversial, but I'm really coming from a point of truth. I think, some of us need to have some reality checks, and I think it's okay to talk about it in a healthy way as well. But there's a lot of people that are angry. They're angry at me. They done shared and talked about me, which I don't really care about, to be honest. But I think the dialogue needs to happen. I think in our industry, we're listed as last. We may be the last industry that is released back to normalcy. So are we prepared for that? Mentally, are you prepared for that? And if you're not, let's do some action items to get you there. The first webinar that Maxine and I did was about calm, how to stay calm, come up with a plan, think rationally, and then do your action. But I think a lot of people are still stuck at the realization. We're still stuck at the grief point where we're grieving what we lost and we're keeping and looking at that closed door, like open, 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 instead of really taking what we have and making it what we need it to be. And that hustle mentality comes out when you're pushed and you're pressed. And right now, some of us have to get into that hustle mentality. And then honestly, some of us just are not going to make it either. I think this is going to be something where, some businesses are going to have to close. People are going to have to walk away from the industry because it's a little bit too much. And the thing is, when Maxine and I went through the recession in 2008, that was huge, where businesses were closing daily. So we've seen this before. It's not that we have not seen it in this way because of a pandemic, but we've seen this action before where people in our industry have suffered to this level. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. People were angry then. 25 to 35 salons and spas were closing on a daily basis during 2007 and 2008. So that was a reality, and there was a lot of anger. And so there is a reality that there's going to be some of you that don't make it. And, and for those that do, I think that, it's heartbreaking to see those that aren't going to come back, but it's their lesson.
Yeah.
It's their lesson. And those clients that they served, they're going to need some place to go. Not that we're like preying upon those businesses, but it is a little bit of the survival of the fittest. And what is happening is it's making those people that are super struggling go, shit, man, how can I position myself better? I want to come back better. I don't want to go through this again. This sucks.
Right.
And that's a beautiful wake-up call, because now you're like, okay, I've had it up to here and I'm making the change.
Yeah. This is a wake-up call. I mean, for everybody. I mean, you and I have been talking to existing businesses and large company businesses, multi-million-dollar companies, where they're also saying the same thing. Like, we were riding high on this wave and it came crashing down fast. And we've now had to turn and do other things. Not to say that we're not still in business, but we've had to make different business decisions that we probably wouldn't normally make now. And I've shared that with Maxine, and I've told her, even in my own business, there's things that I'm going to be doing differently moving forward. I'm going to make better decisions on what I spend, is a really big one in business. But at the same time, you're not alone in this. So everyone is going through the same thing. How we come out of it and how we deal with it is where we have our individual situations. And that's something that I keep pressing over and over, is that, I've been there. I know what it's like not to have any money. I know what it's like to have a child and try to figure out how to feed her. I have a picture that I keep in my phone where I had $2.35, and that's all the money I had. So please understand, I'm very empathetic. I understand what it's like not to have any money. And I think that's what fuels me so much right now, is that it was, for me, I had to fight to get where I am now. So I do understand what it's like to not have enough money to buy anything, and to figure out how I'm going to make it work. And it's not a great place to be in. And it's something that I hopefully will never be in again, but I know what it feels like to be there. And then I do have it in my phone to remind me of where it was and where I am now. And a lot of things have happened in between that, but that drive was really fueled from there. And I think some of us just have to find what is it going to take to motivate me to do what I need to do. And some of us, it may happen now. Some of us may happen in a few weeks. But at some point, you're going to have to do something. And you can't rely on what these governors are telling us, because they lie.
Oh God.
We're not going to be open.
We're going to shut this down now. but Denise is right.
We're not going to be open. I mean, we keep thinking it's just,
yeah.
Ooh. And I see it too. And I hate when I see someone saying, I miss you. I'm going to be coming back here. And I'm going to be, no, honey, you're not. I want to say on there, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Take this energy and do something with that. Yes, you miss them. Yes, you miss the money, but do something with that energy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? thanks for like, this is great. We kind of like just threw this together.
We did.
And we're like, look, we just were like, oh my gosh, there's so much going out there. And I think Denise is right that they're not angry with you, Stephanie, that they're just angry at the uncertainty and the sadness. And
I
think,
agree.
and that's why I'm trying to allow people a little bit of grace. And I think that if we all just, I don't know, have a little bit more kindness and allow that grace and being like, okay, they're not attacking me. They're just having a hard time right now.
Yeah.
And just kind of putting your, self in their shoes.
Yeah.
So kindness and grace goes a long way.
It does. It does go a long way. And I think for me, and again, sometimes I respond to it, sometimes I don't. I think, it's always hard to be the messenger.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm the messenger with action plans too, and I think you are too, as Maxine. I mean, you and I, we talk all the time. I mean, we're always talking about, it's hard to watch sometimes, we as helping, we as in giving, sometimes, and I tap out every day. So Maxine knows that about 3:00 I'm done. Don't call me. Everything is off. I've tapped out. But we are giving of ourselves, we're really trying to help. And we've had some very honest conversations that we won't, make privy now, but we've had honest conversations that have been very difficult with people, just to be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes a lot to have those conversations as well. And we feel we're both very empathetic. We understand. And we come from a place of love and help. We have a very giving heart, and sometimes the giving heart sometimes gets shot up first.
I don't know. It feels good. Like, I just feel like I'm in service mode right now. That's what I've been saying. And we've both been saying
We're
that.
Triaging. Yes.
It feels good to give back. Like, if this is something that we can do and hop on and give you, even if it's one little nugget that you took away today and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go do it because I don't have anything to lose. Like, I'm going to do this. Then that makes me feel good. You know what I mean? Like, then that's great. And so we're offering another free session on Monday, and that's the webinar. So you do have to sign up for that.
Yes, please do.
You can be emailed the replay. And just thanks for joining us today. Happy Friday. I have water here. I should have had, like, I don't know, some rum.
I've been sipping. Have you seen me? I've been sipping. I'm trying to get better with my water. I actually have my little teapot going to put moisture because it's been dry. Like, I'm dry staying in this house. So
vitamin D.
I have my vitamin D. I'm taking my vitamins and my, all of my stuff and doing all of that. But it was nice to, put some, do my hair and put clothes on and stuff,
Thank you for that, because I'm always bugging her. I'm like, will you put on some lipstick for me, please? She's like,
I don't wear lipstick, but yeah,
I know.
I did a little bit of eyeliner.
So what I would love to know before everyone signs off is, what was your favorite part of the discussion today? What would you like to learn more of? If you would just take like a second or two to just type in the comments to say, hey, I really like this part. I want to know more about this, or can you elaborate and talk more about this in another session? Like, what moved you today? What was something that you took away? What is something that you're like, as soon as you get off this, you're going to go do? Because I always say, like, I don't know, I work for you. That's what I always say to, like, my group. I'm like, look, I work for you. So I want to create content and I want to give what you want to learn,
Yeah.
And so that's important to me. But anyway, thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for being proactive with me. Thanks for, giving a dose of inspiration and motivation to the tribe, to our industry.
Yeah, I'm trying. I had to resurface Esthetician Chat. A lot of y'all came on when I was on Periscope, so I've had to pull it back out. I blew it off and dusted. We have a lot of folks coming in talking about what they want to see, accounts, how many. I want to know more about virtual selling, digital industry. I would pay for group training separately, as in do the membership now. Oh, awesome. I want to know about your SOPs, Maxine. How does Amazon, when our wholesalers won't let us, some won't even let us sell on our
I
website.
got some workarounds.
There is a lot of workarounds. I loved about the emphasis that they have to recalibrate. Disney has to figure it out. So do we. Absolutely, Anna. Angela said, get your taxes done earlier. She wants to know about business paperwork and getting digital industry. Want to learn about Facebook groups. Yes, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that can be done. I think, Maxine has a really great group going on right now. I have my mentoring group going on right now. Each person has a checklist. There's a checklist that you have to check off with me. So I'm pushing right now, because I want everybody to be successful and get through this. And I think, everyone is just trying to look for a little bit of guidance. Maxine brings something completely different to the table than I do. And we both really work well together. I've been invited into her group. She's been invited into my group. So it's not like it's, you have to pick one or the other.
No.
I think that, we really work well together, and we really kind of have really, difference of opinions sometimes, but we're really working for the same goal, just different points of view, which in anything you need multiple points of view. And so I think, really having this conversation, especially for those of you who are looking for things, you definitely need to join us on Monday in our webinar, because we're going to give it to you raw and real. We're not going to cut it like we are now. We're really going to give it to you. We're going to have action items for you to do in the webinar right away. So, if you are interested in what we have to talk about, join us on Monday. The link is in the comments. Register and get your spot, and really come in with your notebook ready to take notes, and then be ready to move and have action items so that you can do it now. So I think, today's chat was really great going into the weekend, but I also think that some of you guys need to really sit down and say, I'm going to plan this and do this, and I'm going to join them on Monday. And from there, I'm going to have action items. Now, if I need accountability, I now have Maxine or I have Stephanie. I can join any of the groups. And then I have accountability partners as well, because some of us need that. We do need an accountability partner.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think the encouragement, I think that sometimes you kind of sort of know a little bit what to do, but like I'm all about like saving you time. Like, let's just cut it down to the how to, and then you know exactly what to do, and it just saves you time and energy. So it's kind of shortens the curve a little bit.
Yeah.
Same with you. So anyway, I love you, my sister.
Love you.
And have a beautiful weekend. I know
Yes.
that you're going to be signing off.
I am signing. I'm tapping out after this. I'm tapping out for my Friday after this. I hope to see everyone who's on the call. I hope to see all of you guys on Monday with us. We have an action plan. We have things already planned out for you guys to do. That's the place you need to be. Write down things and goals that you need to have on your own, and really just kind of rewatch this at your leisure, and really say that, I have these things that I need to do and I can do them now. So we're going to go ahead and sign off for Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see everybody on Monday. Okay? Bye.
Bye.
We are off live stream.
Whew, sister.
That was a lot.